Good evening and a warm welcome to all the dignitaries of the school, students, teachers, parents, and every member of the audience to this webinar on the 2Ds of life. I am Tulika Mukherjee, sir, an educator at Delhi Public School, Bhopal, and the moderator for this webinar. This is a conversation with students of Delhi Public School, Bhopal. From class 11Y, we have Dhruv Jha, an aspiring engineer who indulges in making websites as a hobby. Tanvi Patnaik, 9B, an exemplary student with an excellent work ethic. Rohit Kumar, 8D, a brilliant student and a chess enthusiast. And Dr. Sakshi Maheshwari, an alumnus of TPS Bhopal, a head girl in 2014, currently pursuing her MD orthopedics in BJ Medical College. For your listening pleasure, we also have a musical performance on the theme by Janvi and Manit of Class 11. This webinar is the first in a series based on the novel idea of sharing the value of the month. For this month, June, it is the 2Ds of life: discipline and determination. We all know the old adage, success is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. And is there anyone who doesn't aspire for success? We often wonder why some people seem to be so much more successful than others. Why some people are able to achieve whatever they want while others are not so lucky. Well, of all the factors that line the path of success, there are two that make a significant impact. The 2Ds, discipline and determination. If we imagine success to be a box, then the two most important dimensions would be the 2Ds, discipline and determination. They are the not so glamorous counterparts of the elusive luck that more often is formulated than received. These two, along with their unpopular cousin, hard work, are the most essential ingredients of success. The connotations of discipline have changed over the years, as rightly pointed out by our founder chairperson, Dr. Manjula Pooja Shroff, in her popular tweet on discipline. We all know the punishments we used to receive. The associations with stringent punishments are now replaced with self-regulatory mechanisms, which we celebrate today. So to begin, let us understand the word discipline once again. So when we decided on this topic, I asked Tanvi to do some research on it. Tanvi, please share what you have found.
Thank you, ma'am. I came across an interesting acronym of discipline, which I would like to share. D, decisive, I, informed, S, stable, moving on, consistent, instructive, planned, likable, independent, N for neat, and efficient.
Well, each letter spells out a word which is very relevant to the word discipline. Instructive, that's a new one. One who can take and give instructions easily. Excellent. But Tanvi, what does discipline mean to you? And as she responds, let us have a look at what discipline means to the audience. Type in the chat box what discipline means to you.
To me, it means those things that I do every day at the same time, which is probably the same as the definition I have found. Discipline is the practice of doing things regularly and forming habits which influence important aspects of your life. I also found that there are many types of disciplines. Did you know that?
No, Tanvi, I certainly didn't. But let me guess, there may be one about physical fitness. Food also, I guess.
Punctuality, good behavior.
You're absolutely right. It's as if you knew about them. There is one called duty discipline, which means taking up responsibilities and acting upon it completely and not leaving things halfway through. Everyone knows that being punctual and managing time well is an essential part of a student's life. Submitting your work on time can help you prevent having a hectic schedule and helps in smooth functioning of life.
I wish it was always true for me, but I would be lying if I said so.
And let me tell you that Tanvi is always on time. In fact, I don't remember a single day when her homework was not submitted on time. And we are also live on Facebook. And on Facebook, we have other people joining in. Miss Dinah, Usha, Dinah, Happy Sir, Shweta ma'am, Anshula, Parag sir. And Parag sir has responded. To him, discipline means self-discipline. To Anshula ma'am, it means responsibility. Okay, that's excellent. Our chat box is live. Impressive. So, Dhruv, what do you think about discipline?
Yes, I found that Tanvi's way to look at discipline is very impressive. What about fitness, Tanvi? Don't you think fitness is an important part of discipline?
So that is called health discipline. It includes following body hygiene, mental health, and surrounding hygiene. Many of my neighbors became extremely agitated and stressed about remaining at home during this pandemic. They overthinking and negative thoughts consumed them.
You also mentioned food. Can we really be disciplined about what we eat?
Well, we generally love eating junk food, but we should eat seasonal vegetables and fruits. We can be more disciplined about what food we eat and avoid unhealthy food. Personally, lockdown helped me to have a good food discipline because we rarely got food from outside.
Well, I did not order food for around 6 months during the lockdown.
Well, I haven't been to the restaurant in ages. By the way, Tanvi, what about behavior? Isn't it a part of discipline?
Absolutely. It is the most important discipline. It's about controlling our anger issues and thinking clearly before being aggressive about something. Because a single fight can break a relationship of many years.
I really agree with that. Anger issues do break relationships and affect our mental health.
Oh, please, tell me about it. I have anger issues, and majority of times I speak harshly, say things that I regret later when I'm angry, and that leads to a big fight sometimes.
Well, one would never have thought that of you, Dhruv. We all think that you're a very amiable person. Even I'm sure all teachers will agree with me.
Well, I think because I've got quite a grasp of it, maybe that's the reason it seems like that.
All right, but you must control yourself.
I'm trying to, and it's been better than
All
previously.
right, that's good. Okay, so I want to add one other kind of discipline, that is self-discipline. It is extremely important, as already mentioned by someone in the chat box. It's very important because self-discipline is actually equivalent to self-confidence. So it makes you always cautious, makes you punctual, and makes you take on the challenges of life with full confidence. Self confidence ratifies your actions and enables you to do whatever you wish without any hesitation. It helps you to overcome the obstacles that come in your life as well. Yes, I was looking at the chat now. We also have some other children joining us. Sanli Thakkar, Manachi Rathod, ma'am. Slow, yeah. So Rohit, what kind of discipline would you follow?
Well, ma'am, I do follow behavior discipline because one should know how to behave in public and shouldn't get angry or agitated without any reason. Incidentally, I know many people who are extremely talented but could really use behavioral discipline.
Well, funny thing, I know some talented people like that. The one who comes to mind is an actor popularly known for being aggressive towards other celebrities.
So it appears that being talented in one's own field is not enough, but you should also follow the two D's of life discipline and determination. It opens the path to success. While talent is the inherent quality of a person to do something with ease and grace, it can only reach fruition with proper training and practice. Discipline is an action of maintaining and obeying certain rules and practices. While determination is the relentless pursuit of a major goal, regardless of failures and setbacks, both of these would mean that we shouldn't delay or procrastinate the work.
Oh, wait, Rohit. This brings the story of Tendulkar and Kumble to mind. Do you know that they started off together with Kumble as the more talented player? That story has inspired me and I learned a great life lesson from it.
Yes, even I know that story. How Sachin practiced regularly and was determined to make it to the Indian team. The rest, as they say, is history.
Exactly the point I was trying to make. In England's tour of India back in 1993, Kumble was the thorn in England's side, picking up 21 wickets with the best of 6 on 64. Tendulkar wasn't too far behind. He scored 302 runs in the three test series. Subsequently, Sachin's persistence led him to become the greatest batsman of all time.
It's because he had such clear goals and followed the 2 Ds of life: discipline and determination.
Well, it seems that if we do something which we are talented in and do it with discipline and determination, then we will be able to attain success in that particular field. We should also come out of our comfort zones and be ready to work hard, build a routine for our work, and build self discipline along with a clear focus on our goal.
Goal setting is really important, Rohit. So let's learn about the goals the audience has. Type out one of the goals that you're currently pursuing today in the chat box. While we take this conversation forward, what is the goal you're pursuing currently? Meanwhile, Rohit, I think health is very important. So are health and discipline related?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I was coming to that. So, it's also important for us to maintain a healthy diet and to exercise regularly so that we remain physically and mentally healthy. And a healthy person is likely to be more disciplined and strongly determined to achieve his goal. Further, forms of discipline imposed by others rarely last and encourage feelings of rebellion. However, discipline imposed by yourselves is never broken. If we don't maintain self discipline and determination and don't pursue our talent, then a person would be like a house with no roof. So, in my opinion, in order to be successful in any field, you should choose a field in which you have talent and pursue the same with unstinting self discipline and strong determination. And success is all yours.
Yes, all of us crave success in everything that we do. Discipline and determination are actually 2 dimensions of the world of success, which are as essential as the food is to life or air is to breathing.
Oh, I agree. This reminds me of O.G. Mandino's quote: failure will never overtake me if my determination to succeed is strong enough. Whenever I think of this quote, it reminds me of Mahatma Gandhi, who lived his entire life to fulfill the dream of freeing India from the shackles of British rule. Through determination, unbelievable success has been achieved everywhere. The 2 Ds are necessary in everyone's lives to achieve goal and overcome barriers. Successful people discipline themselves to work and stay consistent. I have observed in lives of many great people that if you're consistent, you will achieve anything you want in life. Moreover, when you're consistent, you are more focused on your goal, which helps you to achieve it. We hear people say things like, I don't have the willpower to do this and to do that, as if they believe that some people are simply born with divine willpower, while others were overlooked as self-discipline superpowers are being handed out. The truth is, self-discipline is a learned skill, not an innate characteristic.
Oh, that's an interesting observation. I always felt that willpower is something that you were born with.
Actually, Rohit, most great people have cultivated willpower. There seems to be no difficulty which we cannot overcome when we are really determined. Yet, many of us fail in big and small ways because our determination was never strong enough. Since life is never smooth, many of us fall off when we come across obstacles. But with determination, we can overcome any type of obstacle.
So most people feel that determination and creativity are actually the opposite poles of the planet. But if you are determined to achieve something, you find creative solutions and use your imagination in overcoming obstacles. The Mahatma thought of defeating the British by non-violence simply because we did not have the weapons to combat their more advanced arms.
Yes, and it was all possible only because he had a definite goal. So, just like Gandhiji, we must set a definite goal for ourselves. Then we must figure out what the barriers are between us and our goal. So, for Gandhiji, it was the laws made by British which prevented Indians from living a full life. While for me, it's the temptation of Netflix between me and my assignments. So, I break my goals down into bits and develop a checklist to figure out the obstacles hindering me from actualizing the first box. Generally speaking, if you, any one of you in the audience, aspire to be the best copywriter in the world, one impending obstacle is to enroll and follow through an online course. Thus, your new goal can be to apply for an online class on copywriting. You can surmount this obstacle right away by opening a Google browser and stop procrastinating.
Well, I think Safrin Gupta here has stopped procrastinating and is wanting to wake up early every day and complete her task in the morning. Okay, so taking a small step towards a goal instead of waiting to do the whole thing at once. That is a brilliant idea. I personally maintain a task list which I make every night.
Well, I do too make a to-do list right after I wake up and follow it every day.
Interesting play with words.
Thank you, man. It gives me great satisfaction to cross out each item on the list. In the world of 2Ds, as we like to say, you quickly move closer to achieving your goals, as demonstrated by Sakshi's story.
So today here we have with us Sakshi Maheshwari, an alumnus of the school, to tell us her story, a live example of discipline and determination. So we often read about people, but they all seem quite far away in another world, and we don't get so inspired. But here we have an alumnus of our school demonstrating these qualities. Yes, Sakshi.
Hello, everyone. Firstly, I want to thank Delhi Public School, my alma mater, for giving me this opportunity to interact with everyone here. As a student in the school, I was like everyone else. But once I had decided on something, I would go to any length to complete it. I remember, I think I was in class first when I decided that I won't be missing school for a single day. For that, I had to sacrifice a number of family events and trips, but in the end, I won the 100% attendance award for 8 years in a row. I've trained in Bharatnatyam for 7 years, which taught me the values of patience and dedication. A lot of my batch dancers dropped out along the way, but I was determined to complete my training, and I did my Arangetram at the age of 11 years.
Yes, I remember your dance performances in school. I also remember you had beautiful handwriting. I used to love correcting your books.
Thank you, ma'am. Academically, actually, I was never ready to give up my position at the top. I remember this incident in class 4 when my maths teacher was distributing our half yearly marks, and I was the only one to get 80 on 80. And I could not believe it. Looking back, I give all the credit to my mom, who used to wake me up at 4 a.m. for studies. So that's how it all worked out. The habit of discipline, time management, and planning was inculcated in me from a very young age. And as like in 11th standard, I was the head girl of the school, which demanded a lot of extracurriculars. I had to participate actively in a lot of school activities day to day, and also focus on my studies simultaneously. All this was possible only because of making a plan and following it religiously. Now I feel that discipline and determination was a major part of my basic foundation years.
Oh, yes, the discipline of following a plan or a resolution. What about your life after school? I hear you run marathons.
Actually do, but I never ran in school. I started a couple of years back only in my MBBS life.
Were you really a runner in school? What made you think of running?
I was not a runner I was an athlete in school. I used to run 400, 800-meter distances and in those athlete events, but never went for long distance events. Now I realize how different long distance running actually is. Actually, I would like to share an experience with you all. It was in December 2016 that I met with a terrible accident. I had a lot of broken bones in all four of my limbs and a really bad head injury. I was comatose for about 20 days or so. And after I like after I got the orientation back, that time the doctors were doubting my ability to even walk. I remember at that point I was completely dependent on my mom for all, even the basic things like brushing and eating. I was completely dependent for all basic daily activities. On that is when I decided that I want to run. And this is when I was sitting in the wheelchair, and it took almost two people to even put me into a standing pose. But I had decided on something and I was determined to do it. So after months of a lot of agonizing physiotherapy, I would say, really painful, and I underwent about more than 15 surgeries, and I've adjusted with my foot drop and the orthosis that I wear to correct it. I was able to walk finally.
It must have been a really painful process.
According to me, yes, it was a very long, difficult, and painful process, ma'am. But my doctors, they were really surprised at how fast I was recovering. And from standing to walking to running, it took me about 21 months to do this entire process. My determination pushed me to be disciplined. You know, ma'am, I had made it a point to run every single day, no matter how much distance it would be. It would just be 500 meters, but I had to do it. Some days, some nights, I would go to bed sleeping in my running gear so that next morning when I wake up, I have to go for a run without any excuses. Because I had made it a rule for myself, I went for runs even during my hectic medical school exam days. But everything was worth it when I crossed the finishing line of my first half marathon. And that is when I realized, you know, it was everything was worth it. And this entire journey, there have been a lot of ups and downs all throughout. But for me, giving up has never been an option. Determination combined with positive attitude and believing in myself, I guess, all this was a package that um, pushed me to complete what I had began.
Hmm.
That's quite a story. I must tell you, I'm truly inspired. I'll never take walking and running for granted again.
Or reading and writing. Maybe even going to school. Oh, I really miss the regularity of physical school, ruled by the school bell and its rules and the uniform.
The case gets curiouser and curiouser. Normally, I always hear a lot of complaining about the rules of the school and uniforms. It appears to me when something is taken away from you, you value it more, even discipline. I'm sure it will serve as an inspiration to many here in the audience, Sakshi's determination and discipline. Those who have joined the webinar here virtually and are part of this webinar, we now go on to the virtual world. For the last year, the online world has been a large part of our lives. The virtual world follows its own set of rules and etiquettes, just like we have etiquette. It is important to be disciplined on the internet too. The etiquette on the internet is quite exacting sometimes. For instance, while replying to a chat message, if your caps is on, the receiver is likely to interpret your message as an angry one.
Yes, but some things which are practiced in real life also hold true in the virtual world. We should speak politely to everyone online. It is always polite to wait till the speaker finishes before you speak. Interrupting is simply bad manners. Just as we do offline, we should address everyone, especially our seniors, with proper titles. Avoid using slang words and be careful with your tone.
With respect to language, I feel that the use of proper grammar and punctuation is extremely important because if we don't use it properly at the right place, it would cause serious changes to the text that we want to use. For instance, if we want to say, let's eat, grandma, and if we don't include the comma in the sentence, we'll just end up eating grandma.
That's an example after my own heart. As a teacher of English, I spend so much time emphasizing punctuation.
Oh, yes, ma'am. It would change the entire meaning of the sentence. We should also not overuse the chat.
Well, besides language, timeliness is extremely important. Be punctual while attending a virtual meeting with your colleagues. Admitting latecomers is an added responsibility for the person conducting the meeting. Being punctual displays a person's respect for people and time and earns the respect of others. Punctuality also demonstrates that you're reliable.
Punctuality. It's a very, very important, especially on the internet. The effort required to be punctual for a web meeting or an online meeting is very minimal. Just log in a couple of minutes in advance and wait for the host. No need to travel to be on time. However, there's one more aspect of the internet that I would like to emphasize. We should all be alert about the fact that nothing online is absolutely private. I know of some people who keep online diaries. I know it is difficult, but it is advisable to share only something which you don't mind seeing in print. You never know who has the access to your data. Learn the security controls of all the software that you use so that you are never a victim of online hacking. Photographs cannot be clicked without prior permission. This requires great self-control, especially when you are with your friends or classmates. And no dialogue or meeting should be recorded without the presenter's permission. And then there is the issue of forwarding information, messages, and videos without a single thought. Sakshi, would you like to tell us something about this?
As a doctor, ma'am, I would like to talk about passing of false messages over the internet. I think it had created a havoc during this pandemic time. People, I remember they were spending lots and lots of money on treatment that was not even right just because of the forwards that they received. So I think this should be one of the netiquettes, not propagating the spreading of false messages.
Right. And I think, in fact, there were some reports where false information during the pandemic cost some people their lives. So from all of this, we can say that the 2Ds are all about forming habits. One thing we learned from Sakshi's story is that we need regular habits to lead a disciplined life and to carve our path towards a good life. You do something for a day, it's an attempt. You do something for 2 days, it's an effort. You do the same thing for 7 days, and you're well on your way to cultivating a habit. So let us see what kind of habits our young panelists here have cultivated. Meanwhile, please share one habit in the chat box that you have cultivated. Let's begin with Dhruv. Tell us one good habit that you have cultivated, Dhruv.
Well, in student life, there are many habits which one can implement in their daily lives, but it depends on student on which habit he or she would like to cultivate. So, well, a few months ago, while I was on Pinterest, I found a great way to write notes, commonly known as Cornell notes. The system is divided into 3 columns, divided with main notes, keywords, and summary, which is of great help when studying for exams as it provides an overview of the topic.
That's a great study idea. Ma'am, can I share my good habit?
Certainly, Tanvi, you may.
Earlier, I used to hate physical exercise, but as we have been home for more than a year, I decided to do something about my physical health. I started to wake up at 7 a.m. and do yoga. Now it has become a habit. It has helped me to improve my concentration and become more focused. If you want to build more discipline into your life, try becoming physically and mentally fit. When you have discipline, you do not succumb to lethargy.
Oh, the chat box has got rising early as one, then relaxing, finding time to relax. Excellent. So, Rohit, what do you follow?
Well, ma'am, setting goals is a habit which I've cultivated and combats lethargy. For instance, I had once set the goal of reaching the nationals in spelling in class 6. I used to learn 30 new words every day and I made it to the national level with pretty good scores. So these are some of the ways of how we as students have implemented the 2Ds in our daily lives. What about you, Tulika ma'am? What is the tip you would suggest we should include in our lives to implement the 2Ds?
I would definitely advocate rising early. It's already mentioned there in the chat box by someone. What I mean by this is that if you require an hour to get ready for school or work, just wake up half an hour earlier than you normally do. You will be able to do everything in a calm and collected manner. You can use the extra time to make a plan for the day, meditate, or complete something that you weren't able to finish the previous day. When you do this, you are in control of your day. While if you are just in time for something, the clock becomes your master and controls your actions.
That's a habit which I'd like to cultivate.
You should. I think most children should cultivate this habit. It will add years to your life, and every great person I know of advocates rising early. And so, to demonstrate the significance of regularity and the essence of discipline, we have Janvi Singh and Manit Das of class 11 bring you the musical performance that I promised.
Every day across the sky, the sun moves east to west. Every night, the moon appears in ways we can't predict. Every movement of the stars, everything has order. The great creator ordered everything in nature. Discipline, self-discipline, putting my life in order. Discipline, self-discipline, I will take control. What I say, what I do, what I spend and what I use. With self-discipline I learn. Every day across the sky, the sun moves east to west. Every night, the moon appears in ways we can't predict. Every movement of the stars, everything has order. The great creator ordered everything in nature. Discipline, self-discipline, putting my life in order. Discipline, self-discipline, self-discipline, I learn. With self-discipline, I learn. With self-discipline, I learn.
What a beautiful way to capture the essence of discipline in our lives. Let me share with you that Janvi has actually set the words to tune, while Manit has done a wonderful job of presenting it, of course, under the guidance of his music teacher. So, in a nutshell, if you follow the 2 Ds of life, you will be able to overcome lethargy, procrastination, and obstacles towards achieving your goals. A disciplined life is fruitful when you have set your goal and are determined to achieve it. Looking after your health, your behavior, and absorbing new methods which help you to work towards your goals are essential aspects of discipline. I thank the staff and teachers of TPS Bhopal, without whose support none of this would be possible, and the attentive and responsive audience for spending their valuable time with us here. With that, we come to the end of the webinar. Wishing you a 2D life. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Sir, I don't think there are any questions here.